Please listen to this story until the end and share your thoughts in the comment section. The aim of this story is purely to inform and raise awareness. Sophia and Ethan met in high school. They dated for a long time, and then at the age of 23, Sophia got pregnant by accident. The labor was very difficult, and the doctors said that they would not have any more children. Thank God, their daughter Lily was wonderful and could not stop pleasing her young parents. She had recently turned 25. Now she was already an independent woman who rented an apartment and worked, not depending on her parents' finances. 3 months ago, Ethan found out that his beloved wife once had a nice vacation in a hotel with some man named Jack. He discovered their Facebook correspondence when he logged onto Sophia's computer for some minor issue. The man realized that he was doing a bad thing when he went through her correspondence, but curiosity took over. What struck Ethan the most was that the man was extremely unattractive, but apparently rich. On his Facebook page, there were pictures of him in an expensive Mercedes, and in his correspondence, he told Sophia how he had recently returned from a business trip to the Arab Emirates, where he had a branch office. Ethan read the correspondence, where his wife sent photos of herself to her lover, and his heart began to beat faster with frenzy. The furious father immediately called his daughter and started insisting that she come home, saying it was very urgent. Lily became nervous but agreed. She arrived at their home, and that's when the father decided to lay his cards on the table in front of the two women. "I know everything. I saw pictures of your lover, and I don't understand how you could trade me for that monkey. Do you have something to say for yourself?" "What do I have to say for myself? It's your own fault. You didn't pay attention to me. You were always at work. I haven't felt any emotion from you in the last 10 years, unlike the guy I've been with. His feelings were fine." Sophia's cold and indifferent attitude stunned the man. "It's okay that I worked for my family, earned money, and wanted to quit at 50 to live on savings. This does not please you at all. You're cold and heartless." "I haven't seen any money. You've been stingy. You had to fight to win back every penny. Who else is heartless? Look at yourself," Sophia shouted back. Lily was not at all surprised at what was happening and also began to berate her mother for betraying the family. To Ethan's even greater shock, Sophia began to accuse her daughter of trying to sit on 2 chairs. The women began to fight among themselves. As it turned out, it was Lily who discovered her mother's infidelities, which had been going on for several years. As the pandemic began, Sophia's lover thought of nothing better than to supply their daughter with money as long as she did not speak out, and Lily went silent. It broke the man's heart. His world was falling apart. The 2 most important women to him betrayed him at the same time. Suddenly, Lily cried and began to apologize to her father for not being on his side. She roared and roared, but Ethan pushed her away from him and sat on the couch, not knowing what to do. Then, resolutely, he got up and drove away, wherever his eyes were. All evening, he drove around the city, fighting the urge to drive into a pole. He decided he would move out and live alone for the time being. He got to the apartment and went in to pack. Sophia wasn't home. Apparently, she went to her boyfriend, the man thought bitterly. At first, Ethan blocked both traitorous women and decided he wouldn't communicate with them at all. He wanted them to disappear, but then he changed his mind and decided to still listen to his daughter. He apparently still loved her and could not understand why she chose silence for money. A day later, they met in a cafe. Lily tried to hug her father, but he said, "Don't," and sat down in his seat. When they sat down, he got straight to the point and asked why she was defending her mother. Lily cried and told him she didn't have enough money to rent a place to live after quitting her job. Her mother's lover had offered so much money that it was very hard to resist. Lily justified herself by saying that she didn't want to interfere in her parents' lives. They would sort it out themselves. "The money helped me," said a tearful Lily. "I began to feel more confident, calmer. I realized that I would not be thrown out of the apartment." Ethan was squeezing words out of himself through his resentment. "You can tell he's a hero. And me? Why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you ask me for help?" "I didn't want you to know I was struggling. I didn't want to be scolded," his daughter roared again. Lily asked if he would still love them, her and her mom, or not. Ethan said he didn't know and wasn't sure about anything else. Ethan couldn't recover from his conversation with his daughter for a long time. It seemed to him that his whole world had collapsed. His wife had betrayed him, and his daughter had sided with the traitor. He felt lonely and lost. Ethan spent a few days alone in the apartment, shutting himself off from everyone. He drank a lot of whiskey. He didn't want to talk to anyone. But then he realized that he couldn't go on like this. It was necessary to get out of this situation somehow. Ethan decided to talk to Sophia. The meeting was difficult. Sophia expressed no remorse, only blaming her husband for driving her away. Ethan tried to explain that he was working for the good of the family, but Sophia was adamant. The conversation ended in a scandal and threats of divorce. After that, Ethan realized that he needed to calm down and think things over. He went to the countryside to be alone, there alone with himself. He thought about many things. Ethan realized that he really hadn't been paying much attention to his wife in recent years. Work occupied all his time and thoughts, and the family had moved to the background. Sophia must have felt lonely and unwanted. This does not justify her actions, but it explains something. As for his daughter, Ethan understood that she was in a difficult situation. Money can always tempt, especially when you need it so badly, and Lily was still quite young and inexperienced in solving such moral dilemmas. Deep down, Ethan still loved his daughter and didn't want to lose her because of this story. Having made these decisions to himself, Ethan returned home. He talked to his daughter and forgave her, telling her that she would always be the little girl he loved more than life. Lily cried bitterly, begging for forgiveness. As for the relationship with his wife, that was a more complicated issue. Ethan decided that they would try to save the marriage. After all, they had lived together for almost 30 years. They did not want to destroy all the good things that had been between them before. But Ethan gave Sophia a condition. She had to permanently end her relationship with her lover. Otherwise, reconciliation was out of the question. Sophia reluctantly agreed. She herself did not want to lose the usual way of life and material wealth. She liked the luxury that her lover gave her. The next months were not an easy test for their family, but Ethan and Sophia began to go to a marriage counselor. Gradually, they were able to rebuild their relationship. Ethan tried to spend more time with his family, and Sophia learned to appreciate her husband and forgive him for his long workdays. In 6 months, from the previous crisis, not a trace was left. Of course, trust was restored, not immediately, but Ethan and Sophia worked hard to keep the family together. Lily also helped them as much as she could. A year later, Ethan and Sophia celebrated their 30th anniversary together. All their relatives and friends came to the celebration. Ethan looked at his smiling wife and thought that it was not in vain that they had gone through this ordeal. Their love had withstood everything, and now there was a new, happy life ahead. Thank you for listening to the story until the end. I would appreciate your support through likes and subscriptions.